starting a journey towards a skills-based future, the advice that I would give is don't believe all the hype that everybody's doing it. Don't feel like you are behind, because you're not, and take it slowly. I always like to recommend that if you're interested in skills, find the best use case that's relevant to you and not just follow along what everybody's doing. A skills journey is extremely customizable and personalizable to every organization. So a part of that is to understand where your biggest need is and to start there first.
One of the biggest or the first use case, which is extremely important for all of us, is simply data on skills, simply understanding where we stand. An ability to analyze per company, per role function, per seniority, per age, per whatever, to understand what we have in the organization. Because so far, the massive upskilling measures, I mean, we are half blind in a way. You know, we need a little bit more precision on where to act as a learning community, where we need really action and where we need to generate impact. So the first, and don't underestimate, I think this analytical, simply really knowing what you have is of huge value. I think second use case is generating measurement possibility for learning, to have targeted learning and also to measure the outcome, because learning has been a cost-generating function, and it was always difficult to generate business case for learning, to generate return on investment, if you will, in any shape or form. And when you have skills attached to it, that becomes a different game. You can see whether your learning actually had an impact. You can measure how much it costs you actually to develop certain skills in certain people. You can actually compare learning measures and their effectiveness based on this measure. So all of a sudden you have a currency which you can really use for measuring learning in a completely different level. And the third use case, which I think will also come as the third, it's not limited to 3 cases, but I think these 3 are going to play the major role in at the beginning at least, is staffing, internal mobility. So matching project and people, matching jobs and people within the company in whatever shape or form, to make sure that the task or the project or the job finds the right talent in the right point of time.
Here's where I'd start. I think in order to complete a circle of a skills foundation, you need 3 elements. The first thing is you need people to attach the skills that they're bringing to the table and that they're acquiring to a personal profile. The second leg of that would be to attach skills to the actual job descriptions that people have and the ones they aspire to. And then third, using the same nomenclature or taxonomies, attaching skills to learning opportunities. I think when you do all 3 of those things, what you do is you allow people to come to the table with a personal profile of skills. Then what you do is you allow them to be able to look across jobs that they aspire to and see what skills that they would need to grow in order to move into those opportunities. And then finally, if those same skills are attached to the learning opportunities that'll help you grow, you may have just completed the circle, and that could be a great place to start.
Don't go for broke initially. So in the end, I think it's good to start with experiments, because what you're trying to create is business value through the infrastructure. So try out some experiments rather than, there are various components of this infrastructure that you of course need. You need one language of skills. You need this kind of skills signature that we've talked about. But in the end, pick a part of the business that is open to experimenting in this area. If I give you an example, one of the things that we did was we picked our one important skill to us, which was the cloud native area. Before we got into creating whole skill taxonomies and so on, we wanted to prove that we could automate and create a skill taxonomy effectively and almost better than perhaps our SMEs could do just by sitting there and brainstorming between them what the key skills are. So we did exactly that and showed that actually if we automate that through sourcing those skills in an automated way, then you could actually come up with a deeper, more useful catalogue of skills. So it's little experiments like that. You know, we put skills into advertising of some of our vacancies. Could we get better candidates from advertising certain roles on the basis of using skills? And we proved that little bit. So conducting these, starting with these small experiments that, if you like, prove the business value is, I think, important rather than kind of going for broke initially. When you've got that platform because you've shown the business value of your infrastructure, then that gives you the basis to go and build it out.
They have to start now. A lot of people look for perfection, and that's just not going to happen. My advice to people is always, one, create that simplification, connect your ecosystem of how you want to deliver for the organization and, more importantly, the employees, so that you can drive towards engagement and understand the data points to be able to drive your business and the impact that you want to deliver. And ultimately, if you invest in your employees, the profitability will come on its own.
Getting a view of the skills in our organization is something we're tackling. How we're tackling getting a view of all the skills in our organization is to make use of the technology we do have so far. A marketplace and an LXP as a start, and then a workforce reporting solution. How would one go about doing this better? I think the best approach would be to start with a single population. I think the easiest way to start is to start with a smaller population and watch that population as you observe them and understand them and their skills, and then make use of the insights from any movement or growth in that population across the organization.